I'm Kim Bauer with Tallgrass Animal Acupressure Institute, and this is Simi. She's going to be our demo girl. And what we're going to do is trace the 12 major meridians following the circadian clock. So we're going to start with lung and end with liver. So we're starting at lung 1, which is in the pectoral muscle in the chest. This is the alarm point for lung. Go up slightly. We're coming down along the cranial part of the medial side of the foreleg. Coming down to lung 7, we jog out to the styloid process to get that. Come around the wrist, the carpus, and we go into the crease there to lung 9, which is the source point, and then we come down to the nail bed of the dew claw, which is lung 11. So we left off at lung 11, and then we're going to the sister, which is large intestine 1, which is at the nail bed here on the most medial digit. Coming up, large intestine 4, which is the source point, which is a wonderful point for all sorts of things, is in the webbing of the dew claw, back against the metacarpal bone. If the dew claw is not there, then it's at the scar. Then we're coming up towards the carpus to large intestine 5, cross the carpus, and we're going to come over to this leg for demonstration purposes. Large intestine 6, we're staying on sort of the cranial lateral part of the leg up to large intestine 11, where you crease the elbow to find it. Come along under the humerus up towards the shoulder. We have large intestine 15, onto the neck, along the lower jaw, crossing over, generally about at the canine, up to large intestine 20, which is at the nose there. We left off at large intestine 20. We're going to pick up stomach beneath the eye. Come down towards the corner of the mouth, up, stomach 8. Then we're going to come down along the underside of the neck, go along the nipple line, jog in closer to the midline once we get to the end of the ribs, go up into the inguinal area, come down the cranial aspect of the hind leg, stomach 36, stomach 40, coming down to stomach 42, the source point, and then we're coming down to the third digit, and we have bladder, gallbladder, and then stomach is at the nail bed of the third digit. So we left off at stomach 45, the Jingwell point on the third digit, because we have bladder, gallbladder, and then stomach. Spleen 1 starts here. If a dog has a hind dew claw, thank you Oscar, it would be there, but since most don't, we're starting on the medial side of the second toe. Spleen 1, yep, there it is. Coming along the back side of the bone. Spleen 3, the source point. Spleen 6, 3 yin meeting. Coming up along the back side of the bone, and we're coming forward. We would continue on that side of her body, but since we can't show that, we're going to pick it up on the abdomen, up towards the foreleg, and then we come back to spleen 21 in the 6th intercostal space, and we crink the elbow up to find it. It starts in the armpit, and we pick it up on the medial back side of the leg, coming down like this, coming down, and then we cross around to come into the groove here, heart 7, the source point, and then we're continuing down. And you can come on the underside or on the top side, but you want to end inside the 5th digit at heart 9. So we left off at heart 9 on the inside at the nail bed. We're going to the sister small intestine 1 on the lateral side. We're coming up. We're staying above where we had heart coming down. So we're up here. We're coming towards the elbow. Coming onto the body, small intestine 9 for the shoulder, coming up the back side of the scapula, crossing onto the neck, coming to this little notch on the face, and ending up at the ear at small intestine 19. So we left off at small intestine 19, and we're going to go to bladder 1 at the inner canthus of the eye, up and over, coming along, closest meridian to the dorsal midline, over the scapula. We're 1.5 soon off the dorsal midline, breaks into two branches, the inner and outer bladder line. And then we're coming along down the hind end, come back together at bladder 40, the master point for the hind end in the popliteal fossa. And then we're coming down to bladder 60, the aspirin point, and down to the nail bed at the most lateral toe, bladder 67. So we left off at bladder 67, and we're going to pick up the sister, kidney 1, in the bottom of the foot. We're coming up to kidney 3 in the skinny part, the webbing of the hock, which is the source point. Then we circle back around, and then we're coming up the back medial part of the leg. We're coming along the ventral midline, closest in to conception vessel, and then we're coming up to the front on either side of the manubrium, which is hard to find while she's lying down, is kidney 27 on either side there. Okay, so we left off at kidney 27. We're going to go to pericardium, which starts in the chest region. It actually starts on the chest and then comes on to the foreleg. And we've got it's in the middle of the medial ones. Coming down between the tendons, we've got pericardium 6, and we have pericardium 7, which is opposite heart 7. And then we're coming along under the paw to the nail bed at the third metacarpal, pericardium 9. So we left off at pericardium 9. We're going to pick up the sister triple heater, one toe lateral, so at the nail bed of the fourth metacarpal. We're coming up the dorsal aspect, triple heater 4, the source point, in between the rows of metacarpals. And then we're coming up lateral. We need to stay in between large intestine and small intestine. Coming up, and we come along top side of the humerus towards the shoulder joint. We had large intestine on the other side. And then we're coming up onto the neck, aiming towards the ear, staying in close to the ear, coming around to triple heater 23 above the eye. So we left off at triple heater 23 above the eye. Now we're going to go to gallbladder 1 at the outer canthus of the eye. We're going to come up, bless you, up and over behind the ear to gallbladder 20. Coming down the neck to gallbladder 21, front of the shoulder. The meridian then dives underneath the scapula. We pick it up on the side here. We're coming down to gallbladder 24, which is the alarm point for gallbladder in the 10th intercostal space. Come up to gallbladder 25 at the tip of the floating rib, and then, which is the alarm point for kidney. And then we're coming up around the tubercocci, aiming for the hip. We've got hip points on either side, gallbladder 29 and 30. Then we're coming down the middle of the leg. We've got gallbladder 34. We've got gallbladder 40, the source point. We're coming down to the nail bed of the fourth metatarsal digit. So we left off at gallbladder 44. Now we're going to go to the sister, which is liver. Liver 1 starts on the inside of this most medial digit. So we had spleen here, liver comes up between, and where the V between the bone ends is liver 3, the source point. Coming up, coming into the medial part, liver 8, and we're coming up into the inguinals. We come onto the body, so we're going to pick it up here. Liver 13 is at the 12th rib, which is the alarm point for spleen, and then we're dropping down. We get to the 6th intercostal space near the mammary line, and that is liver 14, the alarm point for liver. So thank you to Simi for all of your great work and being such a good demo girl. And our next project is going to be tracing the meridians on Mr. Oscar here, the cat.